Coming up, her look at the shelter of Saratoga, how they help local women. And her look inside the runway, how 18 fashion shows raise over $1 million. Also, Botox, why women get it, and the side effects. Plus, moments with Freddie Anderson. What's the first thing that pops in your head when I say summer Saratoga? Horses, the racetrack, pretty dresses, fundraisers? What about homelessness? Her look checks it out. What is happening here today?
Well, it's one fine day, and it is to benefit Shelters of Saratoga, which is a place for people that are homeless to come, and they give resources to help them get their life back on track.
Our women come in. We have 35 between our two houses, 6 of them being women. And they come in for all different types of reasons, domestic violence certainly being one of them, economic reasons, they've lost their job, divorce, their significant other has put them out, and the family won't take them back. And of course there's mental illness and drug and alcohol substance abuse. And it's all a combination thereof. And our girls are, they range from 18 up to, I had an 85-year-old grandmother. She was only 2 weeks in the shelter, thank goodness, and she was in between homes, her own home and an assisted living. But normally they stay 30 days, the maximum is 60, and we work real hard to get them into any program that they might need, whether it be for mental illness, the substance abuse, or whether it would be to maybe reconnect with their family, particularly their children. Often they're not connected with their children, and we try to bridge that gap. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Women come in for all different reasons, economic reasons, domestic violence. The ages range between 18 and 85. Let's take a look inside.
We're staffed 24/7. And between Cheryl and I, who are case managers, we're here 9 to 9 Monday through Friday. And after that, it's monitors. Bonnie has to train them. They have to have empathy and compassion, and they do. Surprise, it's great because we don't pay, we can't pay for what we would like to. And they're marvelous. They work long hours and they work holidays because we're open 300.
You work 9 to 9?
No, what we do is one of us works 9 to 5 and the other one 1 to 9. So we overlap 4 hours a day, but each day one of us is here.
Okay.
And it needs to. Our house guests are out of the house 9 to 4 Monday through Friday. We expect them to be looking for employment, and after employment to find a place to live, but also to connect with their families. As I said, with Facebook, some of them are from the area, so they're able to spend the day with their grandchildren or whatever, but for whatever reason they can't spend the night there. But that's what we foster here is a community and a family atmosphere. As I said, we call them house guests, and we have to for a reason, because they are our guests here, and we're just trying to make it a little better for them. Come on into our kitchen.
And
everyone has a chore.
Starts here in the kitchen?
It starts here in the kitchen. Bonnie does the menu, and very often they'll come to me and they'll say, okay, she wants the chicken baked. Could I fry it instead? Oh, God, be my guest, whatever you are more comfortable with.
So does everyone come and cook their own meal? Or
No,
is it
no, this is a community meal at 6 o'clock. We have particular time for breakfast. On the weekend there's lunch, and supper is always at 6 o'clock. Now, we have a volunteer who has come in for as long as I've been here, and he cooks for Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Easter, and he spends hours in our kitchen. And the guys get a real treat because not only is it a feast, but they haven't had to do it, and then they all help clean up. But Bonnie makes Christmas especially nice here. She goes to the dollar store and buys the great big felt stockings, and everyone gets one underneath the tree. It'll have underwear, new socks, maybe a nice shirt. This is our female floor. I don't think anyone's in here. This is our female bathroom. We have a for the 6 women, yes, and that's one of the chores to clean the female bathroom. Another chore is to clean.
Rotate or do they?
No, they rotate.
Oh, okay.
They rotate, and they adjust them whenever they need to. If somebody suddenly gets a job and they have to leave at 5 o'clock in the morning, then they get an evening chore. If it's 7 in the morning to 7 at night, they might get an evening chore,
Sure.
but it would be very light, and then they would sleep
Right.
for the day, for the evening, for the evening. Our female rooms are here, so some rooms just have 1 set of bunk beds, some others have 2 sets, depending on the size. They keep their room clean, they make their bed. We have, curfew is 10:30 Sunday through Friday, 11 o'clock, Sunday through Thursday, 11 o'clock Friday and Saturday night, and lights out are at 11, and then midnight Friday and Saturday. That doesn't mean that if they're watching a movie, that they can't finish the movie as long as they're quiet and they're not disturbing the room next door. We once had a new monitor, very mistakenly, the Super Bowl or something very, very great was on. And she sent him up to the rooms at 11, and it got over like 10 after, and it was whatever it was a marvelous finish, you know, so we've learned very quickly. No, you bend and you work to find it. This is our pantry as well as this one here, and we're doing pretty good at the moment.
Donations?
We get this from donations. We're pretty good at the moment. When they come in at 4 o'clock, they can make themselves a sandwich. They can heat up something from the fridge, but they all know that at 6 o'clock we're going to have a big dinner. Now, some of them never stay for dinner. They go to mom's house because she's done with work, and you know, we're going to have dinner with mom, or grandma shows by for the birthday and takes them, or whatever. Very often we have males and females who have families with younger children, and they try to visit as often as possible. So they'll have the meal with them for dinner. Mom will put them to bed, and Dad will come back here. Our volunteers, we could not exist without our volunteers.
Hi.
And
How many volunteers do you have?
oh my goodness,
There's a lot of us.
at least 20 or more. And what they do is they'll do 9 to noon, and then noon to 3 or 4 o'clock. They'll answer the phones. They'll put out little fires. You know, somebody comes in, oh my God, I'm soaking wet. You know, I get, okay, go.
And if
Change your
anybody
clothes
wants
and-
to be a volunteer, what do they have to qualify for?
All they have to do is have the willingness to help.
I wish more were happy endings, but the ones that are happy endings are tremendous. You know, they reconnect with the family, they get a job, they find an apartment right away, and it can be done. It's a little difficult in Saratoga. We have 2 seasons. We have the winter where you can find affordable housing but not a job, and in the summer you can find a job but not affordable housing. So it's a bit of a challenge, but it works, and we work hard at it. But they have to be willing, and very often they are.
Coming up, her look at inside the runway. And Botox. Are women seeking treatment for the wrong reasons? Her look gets the answer. If you've never been to a fashion show, there's a lot of work involved, from the planning to the lighting to simply how to walk.
This is the 16th annual Ronald McDonald House Charities event, and they're located down in South Lake Avenue in Albany, and we're raising money. And over the course of our 16 shows, actually 18, but we only made it an annual after the first 2, we are on our 3rd house, so no family ever gets turned away, and we have far surpassed raising $1 million just from doing this fashion show. I'm so honored and grateful.
I used to model when I was in college and always enjoyed it. And a few years back, a friend of mine started a shoe company, and she asked me to model in her show to highlight her new fall line. And once I did that and got back into it again, it just kind of snowballed. And she has continued to ask me, and then other people have asked me to do shows. So now I've actually been working with photographers and putting together a portfolio, and have been offered representation by a modeling agency. So hopefully this can be kind of like a second thing for me to do. Yes, I actually have 3 teenage boys. For me, it's important to fit things like this in because it's a release for me. It gives me a chance to just kind of walk away from the everyday routine, the chaos. So some people might garden, some people might get into yoga or other types of things, but for me, this is my time. So I try to do it opposite when my kids might have things to do, so I don't interfere with that. It doesn't take anything away from being a mom. And they're also getting old enough where a lot of times they'll come to the events with me and volunteer, and so now it's become something we can do together too. You kind of, I guess, it depends on, a lot of it depends on the audience. Sometimes you can, if you catch a smile or you can kind of see their excitement, it just gets you into the moment a little more. Sometimes if you don't have any reaction whatsoever, or the crowd is a little quiet, that can be a little awkward. But basically what I'm doing is acting as a hanger for whatever gown or outfit I might be wearing. So my job when I'm out there is to just be poised and graceful and follow the music and just kind of get into it and have fun. And that's, even as a serious show, usually they'll always tell you just have fun. So that's kind of the name of the game.
No, you don't have to be size 0. Women come in all different shapes and sizes, and every woman is beautiful no matter what your size is. I've never tripped, but I can gracefully trip and just bounce back up like I did it on purpose, so it's fine.
This is my first event modeling. I had gotten one of the Thea dresses and loved it, so that's how I got involved.
I've been modeling New York for about 8 years now. I came up to Saratoga for the racetrack to take a break and bartend, and one of the people that own Druthers, one of the bars that I work in, is actually a professional model as well. And so when they asked her, she's like, hey, I got a friend from New York that's up here relaxing, and she brought me along board.
As a Saratoga resident, I've heard about the event a lot, but never been, so first time.
I'm just grateful for being here, and I'm grateful to be able to support a foundation and to be able to give part of myself to something that's going to better other people. I'm just blessed. I feel really, really blessed to be part of this event.
Let's bring out our Joni Sarah, Cassandra Partica, and let's bring out our stylist Julie Potter and Laura Smith.
Coming up, do women want to look more the way they feel? And hanging out with Freddie Anderson. Society puts so much pressure on women and how they look. So what are we saying? Does everyone need to be perfect?
That's a very interesting question, and it's a good question. And I think certainly that with the exposure to the media, with the kind of the celebrity, attention that has been paid to staying young, looking young, I think there's a lot of pressure, especially on professional women, to look young and to look and feel attractive. And I think that is probably some degree of a motivating factor for them to seek treatments. It's certainly not something that we are as practitioners want to place any pressure on our patients for any reason. If anything, we'd prefer to reinforce the good things that they notice. And I encourage patients only to do things that are for them, not for anybody else or because they think it's going to help them, get a job or, help with a relationship or anything like that. I think it's really important that the seeking any kind of cosmetic treatment, whether it's Botox or something as invasive as a surgical procedure, is done only for oneself.
So, Dr. Rita, what is Botox?
Botox is a purified protein that's made by a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. And essentially, it's a muscle relaxer. Botox, on the cellular level, works to stop the release of acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter that makes muscles contract. So it has various uses in clinical and cosmetic applications based on its ability to stop the release of a neurotransmitter and cause muscles to relax.
Why do women get it?
Well, in various areas of the body, especially in the face, the injection of a small dose of Botox can temporarily weaken muscles, especially in the upper third of the face where muscles are very close to the skin. They're responsible for some of the lines that patients develop. The lines between the eyebrows, horizontal lines of the forehead, some of the crow's feet that happen around the eye. So injecting Botox directly into those areas can, for a period of a few months, decrease the appearance of them.
How long does Botox last?
In general, based on kind of a standard dosing, every patient is different, but most patients can expect an effect of one of the Botox products to last about 4 months or so. So usually about 3 times a year or so is necessary to continue the effects.
And I've done some research, and I've read some stories where people say, you know, if you, like you said, like 3-4 times a year, if they stop, then they get the droopy effect. Is that?
There's really no clinical data. There are some thoughts that some people feel that using Botox on a continuous basis may actually decrease the appearance of wrinkles because it may cause some degree of muscle atrophy, but there have not been any long-term studies that I've seen that have indicated that someone would become more or less wrinkled from doing Botox injections or stopping them. I think most patients probably notice, if they do stop doing the treatments, the return of some wrinkles plus the progression of aging. So if they felt droopy, it might be that.
And some people say, oh, they get Botox because they just want to have a perfect smile all the time. Is that?
As far as Botox for a smile, there's a couple of Botox can be injected to upturn the lip a little. It's more of an injection that is, you know, many practitioners, including myself, kind of shy away from, because it can actually, if you use a neuromodulator to try to turn, you know, muscles around the mouth, it can make you, you know, drool or those kinds of things. But they're probably referring more to using injectable fillers. And sometimes the term Botox, when patients use that, they use it to talk about Botox or any of the injectable fillers. So certainly there are fillers that can be placed into the lips or around the mouth that improve the appearance or give a very smooth smile, for sure.
So that's different than Botox?
Than Botox, yes.
Okay, so people tend to confuse the two.
I think that they sometimes use the terms interchangeably, but Botox, or, you know, really refers to one of several types of products that are used truly for muscle relaxing, and that is in the upper portions of the face. For dealing with lines that form in the middle part of the face, for cheek tissues that drop down and inward, for prominent folds, usually there's a large variety of fillers that can be placed in those areas to improve the appearance of them.
I gotcha. So does Botox after a while give you that plastic feeling where, you know, sometimes you look at people and you automatically know because their face looks extremely fake?
It should not. I think that if a very large dose is used of Botox in the upper third of the face, it can certainly smooth things or make it so that a patient is not able to express or make facial expressions, or it might you know, give a kind of a startled appearance. But in general, when it's performed correctly, that should not happen. Most patients should still be able to move their muscles, but it should smooth the way their lines look, especially at rest. As plastic surgeons and our colleagues in dermatology and facial plastic surgery, is try to assess, you know, what a patient's desires are and couple that with what we think is going to give them a good result, and try to meet somewhere that gives a good result but pleases the patient. There are patients who seek treatment and really don't want to move the muscles of their face. As long as it's something that is not completely unreasonable and stays within the realm of being safe, that's something that for some patients is reasonable. Certainly, you know, I think all practitioners have seen patients who have some unusual requests, but for me, I think when that happens, it's more important to really assess if someone is seeking the treatment for the right reason. And if a patient, I always say that if you don't see what a patient sees, it's probably not a good idea to treat that patient.
And what are some of the reasons, I mean, the most common reasons that people want to get Botox? I think
that patients want to look more the way they feel, and I think that, you know, the more we have with more exposure to the sun, with more expression, with more, you know, time, we start to show lines. And I think many patients, men and women, they feel young, and they don't want to really have a lot of wrinkles and lines. And I think it's a very straightforward treatment without much potential for side effect or harm that can temporarily improve appearance. So it's very popular, and I think it's nice that when patients want to do something for themselves, this is a nice way to kind of get a very easy, not very invasive treatment that makes them look the way they feel.
Do you get mostly women or men?
I would say that 90% of the patients that I see are women. Certainly there are men who come in as well and really enjoy the treatments. I would say that that's pretty similar for most of my colleagues as well.
And
What's your favorite thing to do?
eat.
What did you have for breakfast today?
Well, I have the same thing every day. I love crunchy things in my mouth. And so I always have crunchy cereal with a banana, half a banana on it, and craisins. I love craisins.
Do you watch what you eat? People nowadays are so health conscientious.
No,
do you?
No. I've always been a little bit overweight, and I can remember coming home from school when I was probably maybe in the 6th grade, and I was determined I was going to lose some weight. So I've always been a little bit overweight.
Where?
Oh.
You're so thin.
I will not strip for you, madame. And I can remember saying, I'm going on a banana diet. And I remember taking a banana off the kitchen counter. This was at lunchtime. Ate the banana. Then, of course, I went into the dining room and ate a full lunch as well. So that was the end of my banana diet.
Didn't work so well.
No, it didn't.
Do you think there's any such thing as trying to be perfect? Like people try to strive for perfect life, perfect.
No, nobody can be perfect. Nobody. You do the best you can with what God has given you in the way of your body and your mind and your family. And those are all the influential factors in taking a person from their birth to their grave.
Anything you would like to add, Freddie?
Yes, I wish I had your beautiful smile.
Oh, I love you.
I hope you enjoyed this edition of Her Look. Friend me on Facebook. I want to know what ticks you off and what makes you tick. Also, if you have any other questions or any suggestions you would like to see on Her Look, post it on my wall. Let's keep an open dialogue. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Kirby, for being the photographer. Have an awesome day. I'm Paula Gretzinger.